agenda, Mr. Matt?
How is The Strange Death of Alex Raymond coming along?
How is The Strange Death of Alex Raymond coming along? It's, we are at, I think, the next prototype stage, almost. Sean's been working on the cover. I just couldn't. Carson did a great painted cover, but it wasn't the cover that I needed it to be for The Strange Death of Alex Raymond, just because of the mental image of what I think this book needs to look like. So, as far as we know, all of the interiors on Volume 1 are done. But I haven't seen a prototype of the interiors of Volume 1 because Sean's been having to go off and do other things for Aardvark Anaheim. So the prototype number 1, which is actually being auctioned, this will be the first time that the complete Volume 1 will be available. It'll be on Comic Link. I don't know if they're doing it in their next auction or the one after that. But that'll be the first time that somebody will be able to buy Volume 1. I got it and went through and tweaked a bunch of it and sent the tweaks to Sean, and Sean did the tweaks. And then I went, can we make the page a little bigger? Because it is an oversized book. So can we actually expand the size of the page and take down the margins around the outside without having people say, wow, those are really tiny margins. That's distracting me from actually reading the book. So Sean actually took everything up by about another quarter of an inch, and that's what I'm primarily going to be looking at on the second prototype when we get there, and what the new cover looks like. Sean did 18 different versions of the cover, which have just been auctioned through Comic Link, the 18 of them. And I said, it's partway between, I think it was number 4 and number 10 is what we're looking for. So he did that. And then I did a couple of more suggestions as to where the Goldilocks spot is in there. And then I needed to put some extra white on the cover. That some raindrops, some white highlights, some dry brush strokes, that the only way that it would look exactly the way I picture it is if I did it on a blue line, where you print out the blue line, same way that I did the Sarah's birthday card, the Neil Adams birthday card. Everything on the blue line that's in black is going to be printed in white. So Sean has just faxed me today that he's got that part of it done. He has emailed the new cover, which he says looks like a cover for the first time, and as well along with all of the interior digital files. So, God willing, and all things being equal, when I go into Studio Comics Press on Monday, I should have the first finished copy of Volume number 1. This is what it's going to look like.
Okay.
And then I have to sit down and read it as a book and go, okay, is there anything here that I'm missing, or that I want to do differently or revisit? As soon as I saw the page size, and I went, I think we can probably go another quarter inch all the way around. That was really all I could see from then on. So it's like there's no point in reading the book until I'm reading the actual book exactly the way I picture the book being.
Okay.
The next stage after that will be Volume 2. Volume 2 is done, except it doesn't have a cover. And then Carson sent me a cover idea for Volume 2, and I went, this is a great half of an idea for the cover, but it's half an idea of the cover of Volume 3. So I mocked up a cover for Volume 3. So we now have a cover for Volume 3, but no Volume 3, and no cover for Volume 2, and all of Volume 2. You did ask.
I did ask.
You specifically said, how's Strange Death of Alex Raymond coming along? This is we're definitely at a minutia stage of having to micromanage everything so that we went through this with You Don't Know Jack and the Hermitage Awesomes catalog, which have now been both done for 8 months, 10 months, but I don't have to go back and revisit them. They're as close to perfect as I can get them, so now it's time to move on to Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Volume 1, and then there's the artist edition of Strange Death of Alex Raymond, number 1, Volume 1, which is the first 20 pages, and I've got the artist edition for Strange Death of Alex Raymond, number 2, which is pages 21 through 40, but I don't have the right cover for that. The Studio Comics Press guys didn't get, they thought they were just doing another volume, artist edition number 1, and it's like, no, this is artist edition number 2, but it's like, okay, we're not there yet, we're still working on the actual Volume 1. When I get a prototype of Volume 1, then we can move on to the Artist Edition Volume 2. Because my theory is I want IDW to launch all of these simultaneously. I want a carpet bombing of the Hermitage Awesomes catalog, You Don't Know Jack 1 and 2, Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Volume 1, and Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Artist Editions, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
I'm going to be broke.
Possibly the same month, because nobody has ever done that.
I'm going to be broke. I got to start working more overtime.
Yes, very, very possibly. There's you will have a lot of warning, because I still haven't pitched this to IDW. Like, this is why I want all of the prototypes, is so that I can go out to IDW and go, this, and this. Now you can spin the roulette wheel.
That's Oliver Simonson just posted to the Facebook group a article where they're interviewing Ted Adams on the 20th anniversary of IDW's founding, and the way he made it sound was that they were talking about Strange Death. I'm like, oh, okay, so I read it, and I'm like, that they're not talking about Strange Death at all. He's just talking about, he took a sabbatical, and I guess he's coming back. When he comes back, he's going to be the publisher again.
Oh, he's going to be the publisher?
The way I read the article, yeah, that's the way it sounded.
Okay, because the last I heard, he was still staying in the position that he was in, but what's his name? Oh, I feel bad. I'm forgetting his name. Chris Ryle was coming back, and he was going to be the publisher.
Well, I will look the article up tonight, and I'll fax it up to you, and you can take a look at it.
Okay. No, it's really kind of beside the point. Whoever's behind the desk.
Oh yeah. It's going to be. You're going to walk in.
I'm going to be telling them the same thing, and it's like I'm flying all the way to San Diego in the hopes that whoever is behind the desk is very philosophical about me just following him around for a week. It's like, whatever meetings you're going to, you go into the meeting, but when you come out of the meeting, I'm going to talk to you about this again. And I'll just sit out, playing with a paperclip or something like that while you're in the meeting. Not working is really big on my list of things to do, particularly San Diego in winter, if it ends up being in winter.
Yeah. You got to get somebody to show up with a camera and film you waiting. That'll be funny.
Well, I can bring my own camera with me and do the autobiographical. Dave Sim goes to IDW to try and explain Hermitage Awesomes, You Don't Know Jack, Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Volume 1 and Volume 2, and the 2 artist editions. Then if we get to the end of it, and whoever it is that's behind the desk, the worst case scenario is it's not Ted. They had another change before I could get out to San Diego, and the guy goes, "This is crazy. Can we just get out of this?" And it'll be no problem. I will auction all of the artwork through Heritage Auctions. And when I get a big enough pile of money to pay IDW back, then I've got the rights back to it. I'm just going to put it on a shelf and forget about it.
That's how you get more people to pay to come visit you for the Kickstarters.
Yeah, really. I could just have the pages in a stack in the rectangle office, and it's like, okay, here's your comfy chair. Just turn them upside down on the carpet as you read them. There's A Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
The whole thing sounds like the plot to a Marx Brothers movie, but I'm interested.
It is. I mean, it's the stateroom scene on a galactic level, and it's getting more that way instead of less that way. Right now, like I'm working ideally 12 hours a day on the research and the commentaries. I have to explain everything to myself first in a way that I understand it, and then I have to take what's essentially, ballpark figure, let's say 3,000 pages of research materials and commentaries on Ward Green, and then I've got to distill it down to about, ballpark 20, 22 pages in Volume 3.
I'm mentally picturing an Alan Moore comic script.
Oh, it's beyond that. That's why I'm saying it's on a galactic level. Picture a galactic level stateroom scene that then you have to actually do in a stateroom.
Yeah, that's gonna be. It's good work if you can get it, as long as you get paid.
And I'm not getting paid a nickel. That's the other thing. It's like I pay myself substantially below the poverty rate because there's really not much point in paying me money. There's like, I buy $67 worth of groceries a week, and I subscribe to the National Post. The laundry service is, I think, $150 a month. So as long as that's covered, then everything else is paying bills. Just because all of this stuff needs to get done. So it's like, well, okay, if I don't pay me, that buys me maybe another 3 or 4 months. Because the biggest thing that we're all on the same page with is that we don't want to be pressured into doing this when it's not ready.
Right.
And the way that you would do that is by taking more money, or Carson taking money in advance for Volume 3. at that point, yeah, they want Volume 3. They paid for it. This way, if we don't get paid, it's like, we'll let you know when it's done. It's done when it's absolutely perfect. And until it's absolutely perfect, it's not done.
Okay.
Because I never got to do that with Cerebus. Cerebus was, this is as good as we can get it in a month, because we've only got a month. Otherwise, we're not going to be done in March 2004. And already, I don't want to be working past March 2004. It's bad enough that I'm going to be working until then. Way, way off in the distant future when we're all walking around on the moon in rocket shoes.
Right. That's, next month is the 15th anniversary of when you finished the series.
Well, for me, the 15th anniversary was in December.
Well, yeah, I know, but I figure next month I'm going to do a series of posts about, hey, it's 15 years, and we're still talking about it.
This is true. This is true. I have to say that I am gratified about that the people who are really, really keen on Cerebus are really, really keen on Cerebus. And I deeply appreciate that, because that was a lot of work. That was 26 years. But it was one of those things that I never really got to do was, I want to do this perfectly. I want to do this as close to absolutely perfect as I can get it, so that anytime that I do pick it up after it's done, I don't have that thing of opening up to a page and going, a typo. The first thing that you see when you open it up and it's a typo. And that's a brutal process, because I just found a typo, I think, 2 months ago in Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Volume 1, pages that I've read literally hundreds and hundreds of times looking for typos, and it's like, how could I miss that?
Well, that's, every now and then I'd reread Glamourpuss #1. There's a typo on one of the pages, and it'll jump out at me. I'm like, I should let Dave know about this. If ever he's going to collect it, that this needs to be corrected. And so I set it down, go get a pen and paper to write down what the typo is, go back, and I can't find it. And I've done this 5, 6 times. It got to the point where I know I have extra copies, and the next time I read Glamourpuss #1 and I find it, I'm going to grab a red pen, circle it, and be like, there, this is what's wrong.
Right.
But it's one of those, when am I going to read Glamourpuss again? I'm in the middle of reading Cerebus.
Yeah, it's almost a full-time job just rereading Dave Sim.
Well, I did the first 6 issues, and then I did a post about it. Then I went back, and the next post was more about from the first 6 issues of other things I noticed. Then the third post, I think, was the next 7 issues, or no, next 6 issues. And then I went back and talked about them again. And then the 5th post was just issue 13. And I'm like, at this rate, at the end of the year, I'm barely going to be through issue 27. But, I'm being thorough.
Funny how that works, because that's the same thing that I'm going through with Rip Kirby, the Caged Songbird storyline. And Ward Green has this tricky little thing that he does where if he's writing something autobiographical in the strip, he uses a 2-dot ellipsis instead of a 3-dot ellipsis. It was Eddie who caught that one, that the 2-dot is Morse code for I.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that clever? So there's this sudden profusion of them in the Caged Songbird. So I had to just type them all out in a row and then go, okay, why are these autobiographical? And I've been working on that. That's the last thing that I have to do on the Caged Songbird. And I've been at that probably for 3 or 4 weeks now. And after that, I'm just going to have to put the caged songbird away, because every time that I pick it up, it's like, oh, wait a minute. This is in here too. How can this be in here as well? So it's, and then I have to figure out the actual caged songbird in The Strange Death of Alex Raymond is probably going to be a half a page, or maybe a page, but only because it links